Hey, welcome. Have you ever just stopped to think about the sheer mind-boggling amount of life on our planet? It's incredible. So, how in the world do we make sense of it all? Today, we're going to dive into taxonomy. That's the science of classification, and use it to map out the gigantic, microscopic world of bacteria.
So let's start with the big question right away. Imagine your job is to create a library, but for every single living thing on Earth. I mean, everything from the tiniest microbe to the biggest blue whale. Where would you even begin? It sounds kind of impossible, right?
All right, here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the big system for organizing all life. Then, we'll check out the three fundamental domains that hold everything. After that, we'll put bacteria under the microscope. And finally, we'll see why any of this actually matters in the real world.
Okay, so you've got this beautiful biological chaos. How do you find any order in it? Well, scientists needed a universal system, right? A set of rules to categorize all this incredible diversity. And that system is what we call taxonomy. You can think of it as biology's giant universal filing system. Now, back in the day, this was all about comparing physical features. But today, the real game changer is genomics. By comparing the genetic code, the actual DNA of organisms, scientists can map their relationships with incredible precision. And here's the key thing to remember. This isn't just about sticking labels on things and putting them in boxes. Nope. Using all that genetic data, the ultimate goal is to build one massive universal family tree. A tree that shows exactly how every single organism is related to every other one. It's basically a map of evolution itself.
So, this gigantic family tree isn't just one messy bush. It actually has three main trunks, or what scientists call the fundamental domains of life. Let's check them out. And here it is, the universal phylogenetic tree. I know, it might look a little complicated, but this is the map we've been talking about. Every single one of those lines is a different lineage, and if you trace them all the way back, they all meet at one single point. That's the last universal common ancestor of all life on Earth. Pretty cool, huh? So, every living thing, and I mean everything you can possibly imagine, fits into one of just three domains: bacteria, archaea, and eukaryota. Let's jump back to our tree and see what each one is all about. First up, bacteria. These guys are some of the oldest, most widespread organisms on the entire planet. If you look at our tree, the sheer size of that blue bacteria branch is just wow. It shows an incredible amount of diversity that's been evolving for billions of years. And they're not just out there somewhere, they are literally everywhere, from the deepest parts of the ocean to the inside of your own gut. Okay, next up, let's look at domain 2, the archaea. Now, for a really long time, scientists thought these were just another type of bacteria, but it turns out we now know they are fundamentally different. So looking at the red branches, we find the archaea. Genetically, they are as different from bacteria as we are. Their cell walls, for instance, are made of completely different stuff. And a lot of them are famous for being extremophiles. They just love living in crazy places like boiling hot springs or deep sea vents where pretty much nothing else can survive. They are the ultimate survivors. And that brings us to the third and final domain, eukaryota. And this is the branch of the tree that we call home. See this brown branch, eukaryota? This group includes every organism whose cells have a nucleus. And if you look closely, you'll start to see some familiar names branching off: animals, fungi, plants. And yep, if you follow that animals branch far enough, eventually you'd find us humans. It's a really good reminder that as different as we all seem, we're just one tiny little twig on this immense tree of life. Okay, so now that we've got the lay of the land, let's zoom in. It's time to put a spotlight on the main event for this explainer, the domain of bacteria. As we zoom in on that blue section, you can really start to appreciate the scale. What looked like one solid block of color before is actually this incredibly complex web of countless different lineages, and each one has its own unique story. And this is just a tiny glimpse of that diversity. You've got groups like the spiral-shaped spirochetes, which are famous for causing things like Lyme disease. Then you have the proteobacteria, a super versatile group that includes E. coli, but also bacteria that help plants pull nitrogen right out of the air. And you absolutely have to know about the cyanobacteria. These are the tiny heroes that first started pumping oxygen into our atmosphere, literally changing our planet and paving the way for all complex life. So we've got this amazing, complex diagram. But so what? Why does any of this actually matter? In our last section, we're going to connect this abstract tree to its very real, very vital impact on our world.
Yeah, this tree isn't just for textbooks. It saves lives and it shapes our future. In medicine, if you know a pathogen's relatives, you can design smarter antibiotics to fight it. In technology, we find unique bacteria like Thermotoga, whose enzymes can withstand incredible heat, something that's now essential for DNA research. Environmentally, this map helps us use specific microbes to clean up massive oil spills. And of course, this tree lets us read the 3.5 billion-year-old story of life on Earth.
And that leaves us with a final, really fascinating thought. This tree, it isn't finished. Scientists are constantly discovering brand new organisms, forcing us to redraw parts of this map all the time. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What incredible new branches on the tree of life are still out there, just waiting for us to find them?